Alright, now these frags are great other than the fact that they'd be a little bit better if they lasted even longer. Hey forum, Manny back here with another video on the CascadeScents fragrance station, and this one is on our top 5 fragrances that we wish lasted even longer. And I say we because this one is featuring the big homie Ashton of Gents fame, who I'll get to in just a little sec. But as always, before we get on with everything, the goal for this video is 500 likes. If we reach that goal, I'll randomly PM a single subscriber within the comment section below, as you'll be the recipient of an assorted niche fragrance sample pack. You can only enter the contest once per YouTube account, so please do not leave more than one comment. And please make sure that your YouTube account is enabled to send and receive messages, and that you're subscribed to this channel if you aren't so already. Now about this top 5 list from each of us, please keep in mind as always, results may and or will vary. For one reason or another, our skin chemistry with the following fragrances in their respective formulations just doesn't work. As a result, this just leaves more longevity to be desired for each of us. So with that being said, and without further ado, Gents, please take us away.
What's up, Manny and CascadeScents family? Ashton here with Gents. So I'm going to hit you with 5 crappy performers that I wish performed better off my skin. If these work for you, awesome. They don't work for me. I had a lot of stuff to pick from, so I just grabbed the things that came to mind first. Without further ado, let's jump into this. First up, L'Humaniste by Frapin. This one gets talked about all the time in the fragrance community as a crappy performer, and it deserves that distinction. Main notes here for me are gin, juniper, lemon, and bergamot. The opening to this fragrance is one of my absolute favorites of all time. It's top 10 for me, easy. It's mainly that lemon and bergamot. There's also a touch of the juniper that I talked about before. Gin starts to creep in more as the fragrance goes along. It lends a little bit of a sparkly facet. The opening is perfect for warm weather, daytime wear. It is amazingly refreshing, it smells fantastic. But the base notes here are pretty much non-existent. After an hour or so, if I'm lucky, it becomes a complete skin scent. So at that point, nobody really picks it up off me. I don't even smell it myself. And it's not like this is a really cheap fragrance that you can just keep reapplying over and over and over again, unless you have a collection like this, I guess, because then you'll never get through the bottle. So yeah, the opening on this one, fantastic. The first hour, great. After that,
lovely fresh pick right there, and L'Humaniste, I definitely have to revisit that myself. But now for my number 5 fragrance that I wish lasted longer. Here's BAL D'AFRIQUE by BYREDO. Scent-wise, I have zero complaints about this one. BAL D'AFRIQUE is super reminiscent of the prettiest of summer and warm spring days, with its marigold lemony opening, which dries down into a lighter vetiver. Just overall super uplifting stuff, and without a doubt one of BYREDO's finest as far as execution. But some people would describe this scent as a more upbeat, floral, and feminine version of Vetiver Tonka by Hermes, and for the most part I agree. Again, it's definitely reliant on its brighter notes, which I prefer over the harsher vetiver and overall caramelized syrupy vibe of Vetiver Tonka. But as a result, it's no surprise that as far as its performance altogether, BAL D'AFRIQUE feels neutered all around. We're talking skin scent territory at around 3 hours, and at that point I'm just waiting for it to die. But honestly though, I don't care too much because I can reach for it in the highest of heat without it feeling too cloying or anything like that. And from there, it will typically last longer than most of the other fragrances on this list. But since I love the scent so much, I do wish that I can reach for it in more rugged weather if that was possible. But since I can't, that's why it's on this list. Again, it's BAL D'AFRIQUE at number 5 by BYREDO.
Next up is one that I reviewed not that long ago. It is Valentino Uomo Acqua. Main notes for me here, iris, tomato, and orange, specifically tomato leaf. The tomato leaf here gives a little bit of a green feel. The citric orange is really nice, it freshens it up, makes it really good for daytime, summer, or spring wear. The iris is not overly lipsticky or makeup-y or anything like that. It's a very fresh take on iris. And sometimes with tomato leaf, it can kind of overwhelm the composition, take it over, and just dominate it. That doesn't happen here. It's all balanced out really well. This fragrance is a great fragrance to wear to change things up in warm weather. Because a lot of times people around you, especially if they're not really into fragrances, are going to be wearing more mainstream stuff like Versace Pour Homme. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's just a big difference in how this smells to how most mainstream designer summertime fragrances smell. Issue again, crap performance. The performance on this one is terrible. The projection on me turns weak very early on. It sits close to the skin really quickly. And the longevity on me is only a few hours, so this is one that you either have to really apply on heavily or bring a decant with you to refresh throughout the day. If that doesn't bother you though, fantastic summertime fragrance to switch things up.
Honestly fam, I forgot completely what Valentino Uomo Acqua smelled like, so thanks for the refresher. Guess I have to revisit that one too. But now on to my personal number 4, here we go with Pour Monsieur EDT by Chanel. Now depending on who you ask, one may say that this right here is what the original men's Chanel fragrance has devolved into lately, which I can't really speak on because I've yet to smell an OG formulation of Chanel Pour Monsieur Eau de Toilette, but smell wise I do like what I get here. But since it's on this list, it's obviously not perfect because of its longevity, which I get 3 hours of max with this scent, and to be quite honest, it's a skin scent after the first 30 minutes, sadly. So this stuff goes from super bright lemony opening into slightly spicy, woody, light fougere mode ASAP, which is fine because I don't mind skin scents, but from that linear skin scent on, I just want it to last more than 3 hours. I don't think that is too much to ask for, especially since this stuff altogether feels like a more versatile gentleman's old school kind of juice, which I like that I'd like to get more wears out of. But since this stuff struggles to stay alive even within the warmest of summer days, that's why it's only my number 4 for me here. Again, it's Pour Monsieur Eau de Toilette by Chanel.
Next up is a fragrance that made my top 10 designer list for winter of 2017, if I'm remembering correctly. It is La Nuit de l'Homme Le Parfum by Yves Saint Laurent. Now you may be thinking, oh, it's an EDP, it's an eau de parfum, so it's going to last longer than the eau de toilette. And it really doesn't. Main notes here are fruity notes, lavender, vanilla, and pepper. Cardamom is not an official note, but you do pick that up as well. There's a touch of bergamot in the opening that gives way to the lavender, fruity notes, and vanilla that I talked about before. It's a sweet, spicy, sexy fragrance. Honestly, this one is super easy to pull compliments with if you're a compliment seeker, and it's fairly versatile too in the cooler months. You can easily wear it formally, or if you want to, you can wear it casually as well. And to me, it smells great. Very, 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 very nice smelling. And I've read reviews online where people say they get 8+ hours, even 12 hours of performance. I don't get anywhere near that. I get more in the 4 to 5 hour range, and the projection is pretty soft to the skin. So this is another one that I wish I pulled better performance from. It seems really mixed again online. Half the people say it doesn't perform at all, half say it performs amazingly. I'm a little more in the middle, but leaning toward the bad side of things.
Hey Ash, I definitely love Le Parfum myself, but I definitely also get better life out of my eau de toilette too, so YSL, what is up with that? But now on to my number 3 fragrance that I wish lasted longer. Here's Zeste Mandarin Pamplemousse by Creed. Now ZMP is fairly underappreciated and overlooked overall for 2 reasons. Firstly, because it wasn't as widely distributed as the modern day Millésime line, but secondly because it's historically one of the worst performing Creeds for those who own it, which isn't saying a lot because the fresh house of Creed isn't exactly known for a plethora of powerhouse scents. But I can't help but love / own ZMP here because its citruses on a white floral backbone and slight saltiness is simply breathtaking. Like, if I can describe a waft of this in a complete sentence, it's like an ethereal, citrusy, slightly floral, crisp outdoor breeze. So ZMP to me is just evocative of light daytime opulence, and as a result, I really wish it lasted more than 4 hours on me, even on a hot summer day. I mean, I get it, it's Olivier Creed's first ever fragrance here, and besides Aventus and some of his more mature offerings, his scents really don't scream off of your skin. So oh well, this stuff is still godlike at number 3. Again, it's Zeste Mandarin Pamplemousse.
Next up is an Acqua de Parma fragrance, ARANCIA di CAPRI. This is my favorite from the Blue Mediterraneo line, and really it's not close. I really like this one. Main notes here are orange, mandarin, petitgrain, lemon, and bergamot, so that should tell you off the bat what kind of fragrance this is. It is a citrus bomb, mainly orange. It's a natural smelling, at least to me, very fresh orange fragrance that has a weak musk base. Another fragrance that goes along that same kind of line of thinking with a very strong orange and a musk base is Little Italy by Bond No. 9. The difference there is Little Italy sucks and smells terrible, and ARANCIA di CAPRI smells nice. This also receives some comparisons to Pomelo Paradis by Atelier Cologne, which is one of my favorite ateliers. So it makes sense that I would like this one too. It is simple, there's nothing really complicated here, it's mainly just that orange leading into the musky base. But if you're looking for a nice orange fragrance that's not overly expensive, at least on the niche side of things, then you should check this out. But you should be made aware that the performance sucks. This is the weakest Blue Mediterraneo fragrance, so it's kind of a trade-off. It's the one that I like to smell the most, and it's the one that performs the worst. I have to really spray it on heavily because after 45 minutes or so, it's a skin scent. And for the rest of the entirety of the fragrance, which is not all that long, it remains just a skin scent. Thankfully, this is one I don't mind reapplying, and you can wear it out in the summertime.
Now, I also wish I had better luck with the Blue Mediterraneo line from Acqua di Parma, so I'm not shocked at your selection here, fam. But now onto my number 2 fragrance that I wish lasted longer. Here's Mandarino di Amalfi by Tom Ford. Citrusy, fresh awesomeness that kind of leans dish soapy to a certain extent, but Mandarino di Amalfi is so good at just smelling so fresh that it's hard to hate on it scent-wise. Like, who wouldn't want to use this style of scent by the pool or for the most scorching of summer activities in general? This stuff is just so refreshing as indicated by the bottle. However, at that evaluation, I prefer to get more use out of MDA than simply a single daytime occasion. But of course, the reason I can't get that is because it lasts no more than 3 hours. Yes, at this price, MDA is the worst performing fragrance I own, and we're talking skin scent territory in like a half hour, and that's even in the high heat. But to feel like I kind of have to respray it after every hour just kind of feels like a drawback, you know? So based on that and its evaluation, it just comes off as one of the biggest head scratchers for me. Like, if it had twice the longevity, I'd be much happier. But since that's a pipe dream, again, that's why it's on this list at number 2. Again, it's a slightly soapy, citrusy, aquatic Mandarino di Amalfi by Tom Ford.
Last one I'm going to talk about is from the same house that I opened with. It is 1270 by Frapin. This house in general makes fragrances that usually smell nice and have crap performance. This has notes of plum, honey, resin, pineapple, and dried fruits. It opens sweet and stays sweet for the majority of the fragrance. As it dries down, it's boozy and fruity. There are notes of cocoa and vanilla that sneak in with the other notes that I just mentioned. For the most part, it's a well-respected fragrance that everybody likes, or at least it seems that way. The main drawback is the performance, which is what this is all about. With all those notes, you would think this is going to be a perfect fragrance for cooler weather. Maybe something that you could dress up or go out with and have a really sexy, sweet, boozy kind of thing going on. But the performance kills that. It sits close to the skin very early on. And where it's so soft and sitting so close to your skin, if you're wearing it in cooler weather, which is where these notes would typically be best suited for, it just kind of dies. So that's a bummer. You have all these notes that combine to make a really nice, sexy, boozy, sweet fragrance that should be perfect for cooler weather, and as soon as you step outside and the cool weather hits you, the scent goes away. So those are 5 fragrances that I wish performed better on me. If some of these perform great for you, awesome, but on my skin, they just don't really work all that well. I still wear them, I just wish they lasted longer, and I have to go really heavy on some of these. Alright, thanks Manny for having me. I'm looking forward to seeing your top 5. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
And 1270 for to lose with its longevity to cap off your list. But hey Ashton, thank you for coming through to the CascadeScents Fragrance Station and sharing your knowledge and findings with the forum. And forum, if you don't already, please sub and follow Ashton. Links are in the description below. But here we go now with my personal main event, my number 1 fragrance that I wish lasted longer. Here it is, the only fragrance I took with me on this business trip. It's Kyoto by Comme des Garçons. Now, as far as evaluation, yes, I am really disappointed that MDA by Tom Ford performed so poorly, but based on safeness and versatility for an incense scent alone, I'm the most gutted here to say that Kyoto by Comme des Garçons doesn't last longer than I think it should for X amount of situations. Smell-wise, it leans synthetic overall, but I am in love with CDG's take here on a light woody cedar and evergreen freshness of cypress, both on an incense that doesn't lean too ashy. So Kyoto captures the essence of both Buddhism and Shintoism in an understated way, which I do love. So it doesn't project too much off of me, which I am fine with, but with how safe and versatile it feels outside of the sunniest of days, I'd honestly use this scent for almost any occasion. But unfortunately, I don't because of that longevity. And honestly, for him, what would be a 6-hour scent during the spring or autumn would otherwise be a 4-hour scent within the winter. And to me, for an incense scent, no matter how light and versatile this is, I just think that's still kind of unacceptable. So that's why it's overall my biggest longevity tragedy here on this list. That's why it's my number 1, Kyoto from the Incense series by Comme des Garçons. Anyway, I think that's about it for him. Hopefully you enjoyed our top 5 fragrances that we wish lasted longer, but it's that time of the video where we'd love some of your own personal feedback. So what do you think of these fragrances, and what about your scents that you wish lasted longer? Please let us know in the comment section below. Another big thanks goes out to Ashton for stopping by. Again, his links are all in the description below, so please check him out if you've yet to. And as always, if this video made you smile or if you learned something, please subscribe if you've yet to. Again, 500 likes and a random subscriber in the comments gets PM'd for an assorted niche fragrance sample pack. So help me help you, and until then, salute and thank you for your time as always. Take care for now, peace out, bye. Wear your fragrances.